Okay, welcome to this lesson. I think we have been on exponential functions and how do you actually solve exponential equations. And the last lesson we actually looked at a very simple exponential function, and it's really all about making the base the same. So I emphasize that we want to make the base the same. So let's look at some very simple examples over here. So we look at work example 3 part A, where we have 5 to the power 2y times 3 to the power y equals to 1 over 75. At this stage, actually, you might be a bit worried what you're going to do, but the first step you need to really do is to either, if you cannot make the base the same, you can kind of make the powers the same, because number one, you have a very nice indices law. So you need to apply indices law where you have something like that. So if you look at this left hand side, the left hand side here is 5 to the power 2y, which in fact could be written as 5 to the power 2 to the power y times 3 to the power y equals to, and for this guy will be 75 equals to the power of -1. So that's another indices law. And from here we have, you can resolve the bracket inside, 25y times 25 to the power of y times 3 to the power y. And from here, this is I think the left hand side is still the same, and we can actually merge them together. So we have 25 times 3 to the power y is equals to 75 to the power -1, and 75 to the power y, that's equals to 75 to the power -1. And from here we can infer that y is equals to -1. Alright, so initially we said change the base, but sometimes you can actually make sure that your power is the same, to ensure that you can actually multiply them together and use a very simple indices law over here. Now we're going to look at another example, which is this, which can look kind of complicated, but your goal here is, number one, still make the base the same. Actually, there are some clues here already. So 1/3, okay, square root 3, and this 36 may seem a bit challenging, but we will see how this goes. Okay, so from here, what we're going to do is, firstly, I'll have 1/3 is in fact 3 to the power -1, right? This is to the power of -z minus 1, plus square root 3 is in fact 3 to the power half to the power 2z. Okay, now this is equals to 36. Now I know 36 can be a little bit tricky, because now we're dealing with 3, so we are not exactly sure what we're going to do here, but don't worry, just go with faith first and work out something. Okay, so we have 6 square. Now from this side we can actually have 3 to the power of -1 times -z minus 1 plus 3 to the power of 2z divided by 2. Okay, now this is a little bit challenging because we're dealing with z's, so we're going to make sure that my z and my 2's look different. So we are z. Okay, no, that's not helping. Okay, yes, and then for this guy, just make it a little bit, maybe I should make my things a little bit thinner, and so we will have z. Alright, okay, so from here we will have the right side. If I want to make base 3, it's a bit challenging, right? But we can still give it a try. Let's say, can I have 2 times 3 to the power of 2? I mean, that's totally fine, right? Okay, so from here we will have 3 to the power of z plus 1 plus 3 to the power of z. Okay, because we can just simply reduce that, and this will give me 4 times 3 to the power of 2. Okay, I know it's a bit weird, but we're gonna see what this go. What can we do here? From here, because we still want to find z lah, right? So we can see how this goes. So from here, because of this plus thing, actually in fact I can say that 3 to the power of z, I can bring in times 3 to the power of 1, right? Plus 3 to the power of z. Okay, remember you can always do some form of factoring in this in this sense, just that you need to be very mindful towards this factoring of 3 to the power of z. Okay, and from this here, 3 to the power of z is 3 plus 1, because you factor out 3 to the power of z from one of the terms, and then here from the left hand side is still the same, and then from here we can say 3 to the power of z times 4 is equals to 4 times 3 squared, which is in fact what we have. And from here we can straight away say z is equals to 2. Alright, so that is actually how we will solve book example 3. And please go ahead and try practice now. Go ahead and try some examples to see whether you understand and you can apply some indices law to ensure that you solve such questions in due time. Alright, so that's about it. See ya.